What's up, rockers? Welcome to another episode of the Talk Louder podcast, where we geek out on all things rock and roll. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Leave us your likes and comments. You can also leave likes and comments on our Facebook page. Follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Instagram at talklouder_podcast, and of course our website, talklouderpodcast.com. I'm Metal Dave, along with my co-host Jason McMaster. And today's guest is one of my favorite people in the business. We've got Johnny Martin from LA Guns on the show with us today. And we've been trying to make this happen for a long time, but as you're about to find out, Johnny's a very busy dude. Even outside of LA Guns, he stays very busy with a number of projects. So getting his schedule to line up with ours has been tricky, but we got him today. And he's just a great guy. I met him at South by Southwest about 11 or 12 years ago, and he was playing at the time with Jesse Malin. And after the show, he and I got to talking. We were complete strangers at that point, but we just kind of started talking and hit it off. And he said, you know, let's trade phone numbers or emails or whatever it was, and we'll stay in touch. And I thought, you know, he's just being nice, and this is one of these things that people say in conversation. But he kept his word, and to this day we text each other, and we've been friends ever since. And he's a great guy, and if you follow him on social media, you know he's a joker. He's got a great sense of humor, and a lot of that comes across today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Jason, you hadn't met him until today, but
Well, the you know, it's kind of one of those things, like quite a few of our guests, where I am on the bill, but we're playing different days, festival type situations, and so paths never get crossed. You know, like they're playing, but then there's a lot of times where they're playing right before us or right after us. So, and we're still coming and going and moving gear out of the way to let, you know what I mean? So
sure,
it's work. So you're not just like mingling with people that, you know, people think that, I mean, I've opened for the Scorpions a couple times, never met anyone in the Scorpions.
right.
See what I mean? So it's like, oh, I bet you were hanging out with Klaus. No, I'm not hanging out with Klaus.
No.
It just doesn't work like that because it is work, you know? So this was a great episode because he's high energy. Johnny Martin, LA Guns bass player, is not just the LA Guns bass player. He's got a lot to talk about. He's basically motivated by music and is a fan of music, and music is the reason that he is who he is. So meeting people like that and getting to chat closely with people like Johnny is one of the many reasons we have a podcast, but it gives me faith that I'm not, you know, you and I, Dave, are not the only one motivated by music when we get to meet like-minded people such as Johnny. So.
Yeah. And real quick, just to run down his career before we start the episode, he's played with Jesse Malin. He played with the Chelsea Smiles. He played in Adler. That was Steven Adler's band, post Guns N' Roses, obviously.
Tiffany.
He's out with Tiffany, pop star Tiffany. He backs her band, or he's part of her band. He and the drummer from LA Guns, the rhythm section, they support Tiffany on tour. Mm-hmm. And of course, LA Guns, he's been with LA Guns now since about 2016, and he's been on all three of the reunion albums featuring Phil and Tracii back together, and those records are solid in my opinion. So very busy dude, very cool history, played with a lot of really cool cats.
Frankie and the Studs.
Frankie and the Studs, yes. Gilby Clarke's daughter, Frankie. Johnny plays in that band as well. So, a very busy dude. Lots of music going on.
I don't think he ever has a night off.
It doesn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he even said we've tried to get him on the podcast 4 or 5 times, and a couple times he had to blow me off at the last second, and it was like,
what an asshole.
Yeah, I know. You know, right? I mean, whatever. It's not every day you get a chance to be on the Talk Louder podcast.
and me, like, I'm just joking around by calling him names. Wait, you just got to watch this episode and see the rabbit holes we have all gone down here on the Johnny Martin episode on the Talk Louder podcast. We kind of look alike, Johnny. We got the aviators and the the headphones on. It's like
Exactly. Actually, you gave me the idea. I watched one of your old
trap.
I know. Oh,
He gave you the.
Yeah.
Say again, Johnny. You gave him the idea, or Jason gave you the idea.
yeah. I saw one of the stills from your podcast, and Jason had these on. So when these weren't pairing, I was able to. Yeah. Anyways, okay.
Plan
I'm
B.
frazzled. I'm here. How you doing, guys?
You look good. You sound good.
Thank you.
We just have a conversation. So we're recording already. What's going on? Tell us how your day started today.
My day started getting up, taking a shower, then trying to pair my earbuds with this goddamn Zoom.
Because it's early out there, huh? Are you in Los Angeles?
Yeah, it's a god awful 11:10 a.m. So I don't know why you guys did this to me.
You'll survive. Well,
Right.
I'll tell you the truth. May I tell him the truth, David?
Yeah.
We are, as soon as we hang up with you, we're on our way to heavy metal parking lot, a la Judas Priest is playing in Austin, Texas.
That's why I saw that David was taking his son as well, correct?
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
So
That's
we're gonna
rad.
We're going to go scream for vengeance and ram it down.
Nice. I have never seen Priest.
What?
What?
Yeah, I know,
Hey, guys,
I
I
know.
got to hang up now. I'm having some difficulties here.
And actually, my wife gets on me because I never saw Motorhead or the Ramones either.
Oh,
I got to go, guys.
Yeah.
I know.
Who booked this guy?
Conversation
I know, right?
over. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not even in a band.
Well,
It's all a put on.
yeah. Well, either way, no judgment, no guilt. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah,
I judge myself for not seeing those bands. So
that's okay. We can still be friends.
That's right.
So let's talk about all the great music you've been involved in. Let's start with the obvious, I guess. You've been with LA Guns now since about 2015, 2016?
I believe 2016.
Yeah, okay. So you joined in time for the Missing Piece record. You've also appeared on The Devil You Know, and now the latest album, Checkered Past.
Plus,
All three great albums, by the way, in my
Thank you.
not so humble opinion. And before that, you were in Tracii's band before Tracii and Phil reunited.
actually, yeah, because I was in Tracii's band as they were reuniting, and when they were putting the band together, I was asked if I wanted to play bass. And since they're one of my favorite bands growing up, I said yes immediately. And I'm glad that I did because things have worked out so well with their reunion.
Yeah. Yeah. And so tell me how that works, because when the reunion happened, the resulting band was part of Tracii's band, and then Phil, and at the time Michael Grant from
Right.
Phil's band.
Mm-hmm.
So were you privy to the conversations that took place to determine how that group of people was going to become the new version of LA Guns? Do you know what the conversations that took place between Tracii and Phil that said, well, I'll keep your guy if you take my bass player, or we got to keep my guitar player, but I want this drummer? How did that happen?
I don't know if God, it was so long ago. I wasn't privy to the actual conversations, but I believe that just Phil wanted a clean break, and Tracii wanted Michael, and Tracii wanted to use his rhythm section.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they asked each other about it. I mean, since their reunion, everyone always thinks there's been this bad blood, but since a reunion, if there's anybody butting heads, it's never Tracii and Phil.
Really?
So yeah, they always, when it comes up to business decisions, they both talk to each other about it with management and everything else. So it was fairly simple. It was a smooth transition for Philip as well, and as with Michael. That band. I mean, you saw that band, correct?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That
many
lineup.
times. Yeah, a few times.
And it just worked out perfectly. I don't even think they were long discussions about it. It was just a kind of a given, like, yeah, okay, yeah, these are the guys.
Yeah.
Because I definitely know that neither one of them wanted to work with their previous drummer. I mean, for whatever reason, because you'll hear different things from different people and in the press, but they just, obviously don't work well together.
Right.
With that particular drummer. So,
Yeah.
Are you talking about Riley?
Okay. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know the guy, so I have no opinion either way. So.
Right.
Fair. That's fair.
And I'm not even a PC guy. I'll talk shit when there's talking shit involved. But if I don't know the person, there's no point.
Right.
So,
If you can't, you can't. That's fair too.
although talking shit is fun, so I hope we get on that subject soon. So,
Well, let's start with Michael Grant then, since you wanted. I've talked to Phil a few times, and I got his side of the story. But from your perspective, why was that not working out? I think by all accounts, everybody agreed he was a great guitar player.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
But obviously, the chemistry wasn't working for some reason.
No, I believe that he was just in a different headspace. This isn't where I don't think he wanted to be, and it showed. And you can feel that. And I like to believe I'm a good judge of character, and I could feel it. He didn't want to be there, and that. And in turn, when you feel that kind of vibe from somebody, he may not want to be there, and then you kind of don't want him to be there. It just even for the benefit of him, for his benefit.
Right.
And it was time, and it took us, a couple little replacements to find Ace. I mean, I always wanted him to be a part of it, but I thought that he was married. Well, actually, he was married to Faster at the time.
Yeah.
Faster Pussycat. And it's just the timing all worked out perfectly. Everyone always complains about the rotation of members. I don't complain because it always works out in the end. We had the interim, we had the Johnny Monaco, and we had Adam Hamilton, who's a sweetheart. Both of them. I dig them both. They had other things going on in their lives, and we knew that it was just a temporary thing. And everybody's still happy, with each other. I mean, I text with Monaco all the time. I see Adam all the time, and there's no issue with that. Yeah. And same thing with Coogan. I'm sure there's a bunch of things that we're going to dig into here, but it's just I'm kind of getting the quick synopsis of everything, and then we could break everything down. Same thing with Coogan leaving. He has other things that he wanted to do. We got Shane back. Yeah. So like I said, in the end, it all works out for everybody. Nobody seems to be disappointed.
Do you think that Michael was suffering some kind of, you were saying he was acting like he didn't want to be there? Do you attest that to possible burnout? Do you think he was feeling burned out?
No, there's no burnout there. That kid's a music making machine. I just don't think that he was stoked on the whole LA Guns thing. And now I'm not speaking for Michael. Maybe it could have been, he's a guitar player and he plays solos in this band. Tracii is that guy. Right. Although Ace, they trade some things back and forth. It's awesome. But, I think Michael was more of that, the singer guitar player, and everyone always brings the egos into it. Like, Philip's ego, he was jealous. Nobody was jealous of anybody. There's nobody,
right.
I think there was some initial thinking that because Michael was in Phil's band, that it was Tracii that wanted Michael out of the band.
No.
And it turned out that Phil has told me himself that he was kind of the one that was having issues with Michael. But from the outside, from just the fans' perspective, it seemed like, this was Phil's guy and now he's out. So it must be Tracii that pushed him out. But that turned out to not be true at all.
Yeah, it's a musical version of QAnon, it's like all these different stories and conspiracies. It's great. I love watching it. I mean, because I'm friends with a lot of people in this industry, and you see the rumors, and sometimes those guys and I will talk about it and they'll laugh because you can't get angry, and you try to dispute it, but for some reason, even if it's coming from the source's mouth, they still won't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I, at first, I try to argue with these people online, and there's no arguing. It's just like, with politics, even though I'm a nonpartisan person, if I start talking about one person that they don't like, I just start getting attacked either as a liberal or a conservative. So, and I'm neither. And when I tell them that I'm not, they don't know what to argue about anymore.
Right.
They can't label me. It's funny. I love watching that kind of stuff, and actually it builds better press for the band, which is always good. I mean, the cliche thing, bad press is good press, all that. I mean, it is kind of true, Unless you're a pedophile, then whoops,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you while we're talking about the merry-go-round of members.
mhm.
Did you see the band in its earliest inception
Oh yeah, it was great.
many
Yeah.
moons ago with Paul Black?
Oh no, that's a little before my time, but I
Okay.
did get to see the classic lineup because like I told you earlier, I was a huge fan of this band.
Yeah.
One of the best shows that I ever saw. Well, actually, at Long Beach Arena was pretty awesome. But it was Funhouse, LA Guns, and Guns N' Roses at Perkins Palace
Nice.
in Pasadena. I don't know if either of you guys ever heard or
of course.
or been to Perkins Palace. It was a great spot. And that was just an awesome night. Guns' album had just come out, so they hadn't really broke.
Yeah.
But LA Guns was on fire. And they were the few times that I saw them, but there were a couple of shows that really stood out in Long Beach and Perkins Palace.
Yeah.
That's the first. So that's the first album. Did you see him on Cocked and Loaded as well?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
Because at those times, I didn't really follow what album's out. It's just like, oh, this band's playing, let's go see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at that time, there were just so many shows in town. I tried to go to as many as possible, just as I do now. So obviously, but not. I mean, but that's like, how did you miss Motorhead and Judas Priest and the Ramones? But yeah,
It's okay, man. You don't have to beat yourself up anymore.
that's
oh
on
yeah, I
you.
do. My wife does. Believe me.
No
It's
guilt. Don't feel bad. No guilt. I gotta go, but I just know
It's been fun.
Yeah.
So you got a tour coming up this summer, LA Guns, Faster Pussycat, Tom Kiefer's band. So what's the status of your lineup now? Because I know that Shane was back, but I understand he was back on a sort of a temporary basis. Is he going to do the dates with you this summer, or does that remain to be seen?
I want to say yes, but we haven't discussed it because he works with Kanye. So
All right.
as an engineer, that's one of the.
Philip was
What's that?
telling us about that. Yep.
Yeah, he won a Grammy. So he left LA Guns to win a Grammy. So I think that was, a few years ago. So I think that was a good decision. And I believe Shane is nominated for another Grammy. So, but I believe that he can take some time off because he can delegate the work to somebody else because he also heads the production for Ye's.
Yeah, let's get it straight.
Gospel, Jesus is King stuff. Those big gospel shows that he has.
Yeah.
Shane has a lot to do with the production of heading that up. So I think he can delegate that to somebody else. But I want him to do the tour. If not, we've got a couple of friends that'll help us out. But once again, rumor mill will start, if that happens and whatever. It's still going to be a great show. We're going to make sure, it's going to be, we're friends with everybody who's been in the band since I've been in it.
Yeah.
Man, that's not
maybe not Phil and Michael so much, but
yeah,
not everybody can say what you just said. I mean, I'm friends with everybody who's been here and might come back,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you're now at this point, besides Tracii and Phil, you're the lone standing member. So there's we talked to Phil. We had Phil on the show, and when I asked him about the bands merging and how the question I just asked you about how was it decided that these guys are going to join this band, et cetera. Phil said that he almost felt like he was joining your band. So
that's what he was telling people for a while. Yeah.
He spoke very highly of you, and not just as a player, but obviously, you're someone he can live with in the van that's rolling around the country on tour, and that's critically important, of course, too. So,
let me correct you. Funny enough, we have not done a van tour. So, but I know what you're saying. We do get along.
The RV.
Remember that? That was on the Tracii run. That was interesting.
Yeah,
but because I don't even think it was street legal, so. But yeah, that's the thing too. We don't kill each other on the road. And like I mentioned before, Phil and Tracii never butt heads. And yeah, everybody. I mean, at this point in my life, this is what I do for a living, and I'm not going to leave home, leave my wife and my cats, to go on the road and be miserable just for money. I could do that, in any band, but these guys, they're like family, just like with other projects that I work with. I try to make sure that it feels like a family vibe and it's not just for a paycheck, although those do come up, which is great. I got to make a living. Sure. But if I'm leaving home, I definitely want it to be with people that I get along with and actually love as human beings.
That's the only way to roll. And, I think sometimes when you're younger and you're doing that, you sacrifice comfort in any definition of comfort because you're either too young and dumb to realize that
you've done it.
People are being assholes to you and not treating you what you're worth or whatever it is, You're treating each other badly because, the road can be bad enough when you ain't making shit. And then for you guys to start being assholes to each other. So the fact that we're all a little bit older, this kind of stuff is even much more important. Right. To just have your sanity the whole time because you're actually out with your family.
Exactly. And I've done the Chelsea Smiles, actually. We did with Todd Youth, God rest his soul. Mm-hmm. We did a van tour, and then we were in a van in the wintertime going from Seattle to Idaho to pick up a show with Reverend Horton Heat. And speaking of heat, there was no heat in the van, and this was the dead of winter, and it was snowing, and the tires were bald, and we had to go over that big pass from Seattle to Idaho, and we almost died a few times, and but we laughed about it because we all loved each other. That was a band of brothers as well. Yeah. And what's funny is that we stopped on that tour. We stopped at a truck stop, and he called management, and management at the time was Paul Gorgano. Oh, yeah. If you guys know Paul from Metal Edge. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he calls Paul, and I hear Todd. He's like, okay, should we keep going? And he's like, all right, great. Okay. Paul says we should go for it. So we finally get to the venue where Reverend Horton Heat is, and we found out that Paul said, dude, do not get on the road. Your life is not worth this. Your safety is more important. So yeah, Todd basically talked us into going to the, forging ahead. It worked out. It was a great show.
Man, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I know Paul. I used to write for him when I was writing for Metal Edge many years ago. And I want to talk about Chelsea Smiles a little bit, but before we leave LA Guns, I wanted to also ask the 3 albums that you're involved in. One of the things that Phil had told us, and you've told me as well, is you're not only valued as a player and as a person, but you're also valued as a songwriter. So how does it go about, how do your contributions come to the table, and how does it get hashed out about, this song's a keeper? Because you're in a band with 2 strong personalities, Phil and Tracii, and they are sort of the name brand, if you will. But you've managed to get some stuff on the record. So tell us how that happens.
Well, how that happens is I come up with a slew of songs, and then I'll send them over to Tracii, and then him and Phil will actually start working on stuff, and whatever they gel with is what sticks to the wall, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And, it's their thing. So if they have a majority of the songwriting on it, I don't worry about it. I'm just blessed to actually get something on it. I didn't even expect that. That's the thing, too. On that first album, I have 1 song on that record. I didn't expect to have anything. It's because it's their band. And they do great. Out of the one song that I wrote, the other ones are amazing. So I've never been that kind of person. Like, yeah, they got to use my song, and if it gets rejected, I'm pissed off or sad. Because I'm all about having a good album. Yeah. Just like with the playing, I could play lots of different genres of music, but I can dumb it down, so to speak, with certain bands I've been in, if that's right for the song. Yeah. But yeah, so they, I have the 1 song on the first album. I believe I have 2 on Devil and 1 on this last one.
Yeah.
So pretty much I just come up with the ideas, or I come up with a full song musically. I don't do lyrics, and I send it off to Tracii, and whatever happens from there happens. Luckily I've had something on every album.
Is your song on the latest album, is that Cannonball?
That's Cannonball.
Yeah. So not only do you have a song on the album, it was a single.
I think it was the lead single. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So
you're right.
Oh, don't think that I was stoked when I was here and it played on the radio. And
nobody wants that.
I know. And that feeling's still the same, because I've been doing this professionally since 97. And actually I was played on the radio before I was doing it professionally, but and that feeling's still the same.
Yeah.
At least for me. It just never gets old. You hear something on, that you wrote, that you had, you created on the radio, and it's just the best feeling in the world. I feel like I'm 16, all over again.
Yeah.
So I have a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
When you're contributing material and it's not lyrics, is there like a melody you're suggesting? Is it just a couple of riffs?
I've always, everything that I've always written from the time that I was in this ska punk band called Cousin Oliver back on MCA in 96. I've always just written music, and it's always worked out, and yeah, it's always just been the music. With me.
So
I tried lyrics, and God, I don't even know of a good pun or analogy. It's just horrible. And I can.
You don't like it. You personally don't.
Oh
like
God, no, no. I've never been. Yeah, this is rad. No, stuff like she's walking down the street with no shoes on her feet. I don't know. That dumb. That's how stupid it is. I don't even like interviews because I don't like the way that I talk. So my speakage is horrible. The speakage.
The speakage.
Yeah.
Well, the when you're submitting music or, a chord progression
right.
with, maybe there's a walking bass line, maybe there's something that's suggesting a melody for Tracii or Phil, probably Phil, to hear, to actually, something to bubble to the top that doesn't suck, that for him to put over I feel like the music has to inspire the lyricist, the singer, or the lead, even the lead guitar player. It's like, oh, I hear a solo over that. There has to be.
Exactly. And I write music. I noticed that parts of music kind of stand out. I guess you would call them a hook or something that grabs the singer. I noticed that, let me digress a bit. When I write songs, especially with the LA Guns stuff, there's a lot of stuff that I write that is not LA Guns, but I'll submit that.
Sure.
And Cannonball, is one of those types of songs because, that's the one that stuck with them, and that's the one that's on the album. But if, sometimes if they'll come up with a melody line, I'll still turn around and go, hey, work with that a little bit more. But I don't come up with the initial melody line at all. It's just never been a thing. But like you said, the walking bass lines, something within that music inspires them to come up with it. To your credit, I feel like the barrage of chords and whatever it is, the soup that they're gonna put spices into, you're coming up with that. And that's inspiring them to make it taste a certain way. Right. And I think that it can be a thankless job sometimes. For instance, when someone gives me, here's 10 songs, and I'm supposed to write lyrics and sing, find melodies over these 10 songs, and let's say 2 of them inspire me and the rest of them just kind of melt away. Right. And then the phone rings and these 2 are great. Where's the rest of it? I would say, well, send me some more because those didn't do anything for me. Doesn't mean those songs are bad. No, that's by exactly no means. Right. That's exactly right. They could give those 5, 6, 7 to a different singer and they might be like, oh yeah. And then they'll be better than the shit I came up with. So it just depends on the, where you're at in your head, what you feel like singing, what you feel like writing about, especially when you have, in my mind, I feel like I know what an LA Guns record needs to sound like. Right.
And I think you do too, of course.
Well,
So-
I was going to argue that, Johnny's talking about he writes stuff all the time, and some of it he doesn't feel is LA Guns type stuff. And I would argue that you never know what's going to be LA Guns type stuff.
Right. That's why I still send them. That's why I still send them.
Another Season in Hell, or The Floods, The Fault of the Rain, or something like that, and it's like, there's a lot going on. I mean, obviously, the LA Guns is known for the bangers and the sleazy cock rock kind of stuff, but there's some depth in those records that, even the title track to The Devil You Know, kind of a bit of a surprise maybe for some listeners. So I would say throw everything at them, and you never know what's going to stick.
Well, that's what I do. I mean, there are some that I just know immediately that, I'll write something more electronic sounding that sounds like Devo meets Gary Newman, but obviously those songs are just not going to fly. But then again, you think of something like Alice Cooper, Clones. You would have never have thought that would have been an Alice Cooper song, but that just happens to be probably in my top 5 Alice Cooper songs.
Yeah, the Special Forces and Dada records that Alice did, I fucking love both of those. And they're like, he's trying to be Devo, and he's got the guitar player from Elton John on it, and it's just quirky as hell. I love those records because he's like taking chances. He's kind of creating his own. He's reinventing himself is what it is. I think that it's great that LA Guns can, be wide open to your outside ideas, your ideas about what it doesn't have to sound like an LA Guns song until
LA Guns does it exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is everybody respects each other in this band. I mean, once again, the fans don't even think that, or not. It's not even fans. It's I guess you would call them trolls.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just some people just don't understand, and they have this preconceived notions, and they're going to once again. I'm going to reiterate that they stick with that. You can't change their mind on it.
No.
But everybody respects each other in this band, and there's never any henpecking, going on. There's a slight totem pole. It's their band.
Sure. Yeah.
But when it comes.
You're respectful to that, and you get the equal respect because of that.
Right. And there are times, and I'll say this, it's like, when it comes times for like new rehearsals, I tend to be the music director because, everybody's got a bunch of stuff going on. That's just because I'm good at that, and Tracii respects that. I'm not stepping on his toes. I just happen to know that, a certain bass drum goes a certain way with certain songs. And he's concentrating on, relearning the guitar parts of the album. We're all relearning the stuff from the records, I mean, what we just had a handful of shows and played some new songs. I think the last show we finally got the new songs right.
And then it's time to go home.
Right, exactly. Had it been a regular tour, because sometimes, we'll bust out the new songs when there's a tour. So we've got, that week under our belt, and then everything is going to sound great for the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
But this has been, it was like 2 shows and then, another weekend or 2. And then it was 2 shows again. It's like finally the second show, it's like, oh, we're stopping, you finally get it. And, but the new shows, the new songs have gone over great at these latest shows.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a solid album. You're on a roll as far as I'm concerned.
But some of those songs don't translate well live. I mean, like with, I remember, we did some songs off of Devil and Missing Piece. We tried them live, just never went over. They were great album tracks.
Yeah.
Amazing live. And it's not that it didn't go over well with the fans. We just didn't even feel it's like, nah, this isn't vibing.
Yeah. I think any band can say that about their catalog. There are songs that were great on the album and you're very proud of them, but the live environment is a very unique animal. It's all about energy and the interaction with the fans and the connection.
Right.
And sometimes great album tracks don't have that. And it's...
Well, and that's why I'm mentioning it here, because some fans don't realize that. They're like, oh, why don't they ever play that? And
yeah,
happens all the time.
Yeah.
And
oh man,
just,
you guys, great show, but you didn't play my favorite song. Well, what is that? And they tell you, and it's like, well, that one's never been played live, and I'm sorry to tell you, and never will see the light of day. So
yeah. So
And we'll never know why. So
when you signed on for this band, did you honestly think Phil and Tracii would last for 3 albums and still going?
Well,
was there any trepidation in the back of your mind thinking this is going to be a short-term thing?
No, the thing is, once again, I don't believe all the rumors,
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I'll watch Fox News and sometimes I'll watch CNN, and whichever story they're both telling, is probably the truth, because they tend to be opposites with, and that's the same thing with all the rumor mill. I don't believe anything that anyone says. So I never knew anything really about their feud. When I was playing with Tracii, they had already played a show together, acoustic thing a year before. So I just knew them as friends already.
Did you lose his audio?
What's up?
no, we're good. We're good.
You good?
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Dave, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear us? David?
I guess he can't hear us anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
See, this is where we talk shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
there he is.
Fuck.
Yeah, I had him
Well,
the
this
whole-
is
Hey, Dave, I had him the whole time. So since
Yeah.
it's recording on my stuff, we're good.
Okay, good.
all right. Where were we at? So yeah, I never knew them during, was it a feud? I never knew them when they didn't talk. I just knew them as friends,
Yeah.
so there was never anything in I guess in the front of my mind, there was never any thought about how long will this last?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's never been like, oh no, when are they going to blow up at each other?
Right. Yeah, I think, I think it's just, age and respect for one another and where you are in your life. And like you said earlier, you get to a certain point and you just don't have time for the drama. It's either going to work or it's not, and you're not going to suffer if it doesn't. You're just going to pull the plug and go.
Just there have been family members in my life that I've had a falling out with for a few years, and then, we start talking and hanging again, and it's better than it's ever been. The relationship, it's going to happen. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it's it can happen, and it could all turn out for the best, like it did with Tracii and Phil.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you and happy for the band. And as a fan, I'm happy for the fans because I'm a huge fan of those last 3 records. And I think anyone that stopped listening to LA Guns years ago needs to do themselves a favor.
Well, because I know what you're saying because I was a fan as well of this band. And, I'm glad with how everything's turned out. And we're a fan of the fans. You know what I mean? Because they're digging the new stuff. And I can't wait to go out on the road again with this. Tom Kiefer and his band's amazing. Have you seen Kiefer solo?
It's been a little bit, but
okay. His band, Billy, the bass player, he used to play with Ryan Adams, and it's funny. And this is in no disrespect to anybody that's ever played with LA Guns, but when I talked to Billy the first time we played with Kiefer's band, he was doing a little research on who was playing with LA Guns now, as everyone does, like who's in the band. And Billy's like, oh, I saw that you were the bass player. He's, oh, thank God, he's a real bass player. Because I played with Jesse Malin and Jesse and Ryan Adams, because he was Ryan Adams' bass player. They had worked together as well. That's right. I met David at a Jesse Malin show.
Yeah.
We're at 12 years now because South by is going on right now, right?
Yeah. 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 We met at South by Southwest. It was Jesse was touring the Glitter in the Gutter album.
No. Love It to Life.
Oh, was it Love It to Life?
Yeah.
Oh, I had him sign the Glitter in the
right because it was Jesse Malin and the St. Mark Social.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, I went to the gig because I was a Jesse fan. I'm still a Jesse fan, but I went to go see Jesse Malin. I didn't know who Johnny was, but Johnny and I ended up talking after the show.
That was at the rooftop, correct?
Yeah, it was on that rooftop gig down on 6th Street somewhere. And we started talking, and Johnny's like, hey, let's give me your phone number, your email address or something. We'll stay in touch. And I'm thinking, he's just being nice. It's one of these things that people say in polite conversation. And here we are all these years later. And, he kept his word and he has stayed in touch. And we text each other now and then. And I send you
new music.
He does.
Before I'm supposed to.
Yes, I've probably heard.
When I'm specifically told, do not share this, I share it with David.
Yeah, he knows he can trust me. I think I've heard the last 3 LA Guns albums 6 months before the public heard them because he sends it to me on my phone.
I'm really glad that you're sending him because then I get them. Because, even though he promised everyone, he wasn't going to give them to anybody, he gives them to me.
It's not true. Don't believe. No, I guard that stuff with my life because I appreciate that you're sharing it with me, and I know that you're doing that because you trust me with it. So it never leaves. It never leaves my possession. I may let someone listen in on it, but I don't share the files.
The beautiful thing about that kind of sort of friendship that, Johnny in a band that you respect and love, and he knows that you are a journalist and, are probably going to review the record when it comes out. You probably already know what you're going to write about. You're already going to have these levels of, these places that you're going to take an article or your opinions about what's going on. And, I think that that's fairly normal. Surely that happens between people who, have that mutual respect, who kind of know each other as far as journalists and guy in a band who can like float a few songs or, promo the record without the label or the other bandmates, kind of a thing,
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the junkyard guys do the same thing. They send me stuff, and
that's what I mean. It goes.
Like,
I get stuff.
You do the same thing, Jason. Yeah, you send me stuff all the time.
The thing is, I've been lucky enough not to really burn any bridges in this industry, and I sometimes tend to forget that some of my friends are journalists. And then when I do remember, I'm like, oh, by the way, this is off the record. I have to remember saying that because it goes back to talking shit again, because I do a lot of that. But it's only talking shit about people I know. So it's
good.
Like now that I know Jason.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right.
How about it? Try to find some dirt.
I know. Exactly. There's not really even any dirt on me.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, there is, but it's something I'm going to laugh at.
Right.
Yeah.
So
let's.
There is so much to talk about. We're going to need because I'm just starting to wake up to this.
Okay.
We're what, almost a half hour in.
Yeah.
So
we can do it. We can do part 2 if we needed like 4 hours or something.
Yeah. Because the thing is like there's so much to talk about. Because I know that David wants to touch on things and certain bands that I had played with. Because I know that he was fans of them as well.
Yeah.
And some of the experiences that I had. Because some of the like back with Jesse Malin. Oh, speaking of, I just did a benefit for Howie Pyro with Jesse a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I got to play with a couple songs with Butch Walker, Susie from L7, played a couple songs with her,
Nice.
Michael DeBar, which is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was all awesome playing. And then Kid Congo from the Cramps and Gun Club.
Wow.
Yeah.
We did Goo Goo Muck and Sex Beat with him, and Clem Burke was on drums for all those songs.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Which was pretty awesome. But and then Jesse played with, it was basically a D-Gen reunion without Howie. I believe his name is James, a bass player for Jesse's band, played bass, and he's a sweetheart. Great. One of my favorite bass players now that I even got to know him as a person. It made me even more of a fan. But there was a D-Gen reunion, and then Jacob Dylan came up on stage with Jesse and Jesse's solo band.
Wow.
And Jacob Dylan played my one of my favorite songs. What is that? Three Marlenas, is it? I'm really bad with song titles.
No, that's right.
Yeah, and even with my own bands, I can't tell you lyrics. That's a reason. Once I don't even write lyrics, I can't tell you lyrics of my favorite songs or of any LA Gun songs, in all the lyrics, of a song.
Yeah, I can't tell you lyrics I wrote.
But I can tell you every single nuance that's going on musically. So
yeah.
From a triangle to a whistle. So
how is Howie doing? Because that was a big deal. That benefit.
He's recouping. That's the thing. He had the liver transplant.
Yeah.
And then he was recouping from that in the hospital. He went home for 6 hours and had to go back to the hospital because he had pneumonia due to COVID.
Wow. Yeah. I think I
And
saw
he's, did you see the video that I put up online? There was a video of him kind of telling people, hey, come to the show. It'll be great.
Yeah, I did.
He looks frail, but he's alive, and that's the thing. And I haven't heard anything like, his body's not rejecting anything. He hasn't turned, and nothing's gone for a turn for the worse due to COVID or anything like that. So
good deal. Good. Well,
exactly. Because I got a chance at what's that?
The support he had was incredible. I mean, you and then all the list of people that you talked about, and that was an LA thing, so a lot of people had to travel to be there. Mm-hmm. So I was just happy to see such an outpouring of support for him.
Oh, we did too. I mean, with the GoFundMe and that, we've raised a lot of money, and it's it's for a good guy. I mean, the guy knew Sid Vicious. So he's been in a scene for years.
Yeah.
And he's always been cool with me. When I was in Jesse's band, he was always a sweetheart. And then D-Gen did some shows when I was in Jesse's band between 2010 and 2013. And D-Gen got together. So Jesse asked if I wanted to go on the road and drive them and, and deal with merch, kind of a poor man's tour manager kind of thing. And Howie and I roomed together, and
cool.
The only complaint that we had was I snored. So I told him, I go, just hit me. And he did. So, but a good guy.
How did you end up with Jesse? Because you're an LA guy. Jesse's a New York guy. How did that long distance connection happen?
Well, Chelsea Smiles, Todd Youth, because Todd is New York.
Yep.
Jesse and him were friends for years, and Todd was in D-Gen.
Yeah.
So what had happened was, I believe Todd was playing with Ace Frehley, and afterwards, like everybody does when you play New York, you go to one of Jesse's bars, and they were talking. Jesse gave Todd "Love It to Live." Todd loved it, and it came time for a West Coast tour, and Jesse needed a band. So we basically used the Chelsea Smiles rhythm section and Todd as part of that band.
Wow.
And then we ended up doing a West Coast tour. And then that one West Coast tour turned into 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So, and that was great because I got to meet so many people. I'm a huge, some of my favorite bands came out of New York.
Yeah.
And also came out of England, but produced some of their best music when they lived in New York. All those English cats, your David Bowies and everything else, and Rolling Stones. So the history there, I got to hang out in the East Village, and I got to really know the history and see it, and not just something you'll find on Google. I got to hear it from the actual people that were there. Yeah. Because I spent more time off the road in New York than I did in LA. Because there was no point in sending me back home for a week and then send me back to New York for another tour. So I spent a lot of time away from LA.
Yeah.
And thank God my wife's work at the time was based out of New York, so they would send her out there. So that broke up the monotony of not seeing her, or else I wouldn't have seen her for months. And the reason I keep talking about her is she's my best bud. Isn't that right, kiddo? Yeah. Yeah, okay. 24 years next month.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, back to where were we? Oh yeah, New York. I got to play with, Bruce Springsteen on stage with us. He did a song with us. That's when I got to play on stage with Butch Walker. Although I had met Butch back in 2002 when I was in a band on Virgin, who, typical story, the album never came out, but I wrote all the songs for this band, and I was stuck. Band was called Crash Radio. Never amounted to anything, but we did get signed, and I wrote 90% of the music, and I was stuck on a bridge, so the label hired Butch. So I got to write songs with Butch, which was kind of cool, more than kind of cool. It was actually awesomely cool. Yeah. But yeah, so back to the Jesse Malin band, I just got to meet a lot of really, really cool people. You, for one, David.
Yeah.
I met a lot of friends. Yeah, you're all right. I have another friend too.
No, I spend more time with him than you do, so we'll talk later.
But does he give you naked hugs?
I
guess so. Okay, that's a yes.
See, this is when we want his audio to die, and of course now it's just he's
No,
off and
speak
running.
for yourself. I don't want his audio to die. He's finally talking about things I want to talk about.
But then, so where do we want to go from here? We want to talk about
I wanted
Kiss?
to go. I want to know what was it like working with Steven Adler, because you were in his band, and obviously most people would think that that band is going to have a head start at success because of who Adler is and the whole Guns N' Roses thing, and I think it was pretty short-lived, and I don't know that much came out of it. So,
well, that album came out of it. I wasn't on it. Pilson was Jeff Pilson. He played bass and produced it. And did you heard that album, right?
I don't think I have heard it. No,
it's amazing. And some people, I'm only kind of just telling you on hearsay here, is that some people had actually even mentioned that it was the best solo album from any GNR alum at the time. So this was 2012, I think 2012 or 2013 when that album came out. So the album was strong. It was great. It had potential to do something. Even Kerrang loved it. Kerrang hates everything American.
Did you write on it?
Yeah. What's that?
Did you write songs for that?
No. I was actually in Jesse's band when the songs were written.
Okay.
And I was on tour with Tracii Guns at LA Guns when they asked me to play bass. So back to the Tracii Guns and members really quick. We're going to jump back and forth. Wikipedia, where it has listed all band members, I made Wikipedia twice as an LA Guns band member. So, yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah, there's a small handful of us: Adam Hamilton, Shane Fitzgibbon. But anyways, the Adler record. We had so many. It was on was it Century? No, not Century Media. I forgot what label it was on. And we had tours booked. The press was rolling fabulously. We had tours booked. We did do the Kiss Cruise 2, which was amazing. Yeah, and. That was great. And that's, with all the great reviews of the album and the touring, we were slated to have a pretty good run of shows and a pretty good working schedule for a good couple of years. But unfortunately, Steven had some issues at the time that he had to deal with, and that kind of put the kibosh on that. And then we did just a couple of, we did a little we did Peru, in South America. That was a couple years after the album came out. We did maybe, I think, 3 or 4 shows in Peru and a couple of other shows. But other than that, it really didn't amount to anything, because I was already, dealing with some other things. I was really busy. I couldn't even do that anymore.
So is it fair to say that the band kind of ran out of gas because Steven was still, fighting his demons?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. The excitement for it. I mean, we could have, I guess, rallied the troops after he had gotten himself together, because he's cool now, Yeah. But it was just a little too late. We're like, we had all moved on, and the excitement wasn't there, and I have to have that. I'm not just going to do something for the sake of, like, oh, look, it's just, it's an Adler show.
Yeah.
But they're all great guys, and I still talk to all of them. So,
yeah. Well, like you said, you haven't burned any bridges, so maybe there's something down the line, now.
And I've made good friends out of it. I just, like, I knew Lonnie ahead of time. I didn't know him this well. I had never known Jacob, and Jacob and I are texting all the time, and then we'll see each other once in a while around town, and it's all love.
Yeah.
And Steven,
Jacob Button.
Jacob Button, yes.
Yeah, I just ran into him on the Monsters cruise.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I like him. He's a true fan. I mean, he'll be on the cruise and not even performing. He's just there because he loves rock and roll. Amen.
Yep, and he definitely wears that fandom on his sleeve.
I love it. That's I get along with him so good, and I think that we just have that in common. We're both kind of fanboy about the things we love, and
right.
he's great. He's great.
So how did you get the Tiffany gig? So for anyone listening that needs a little refresher, Tiffany was a huge teenage pop star in the 80s and kind of made a name for herself doing all ages shows at shopping malls, and had a huge hit with I Think We're Alone Now. And then she kind of disappeared for decades, as far as I know.
And she started a family.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
She didn't stop playing, writing though. She didn't stop playing. She didn't play as much.
So how do you get that phone call? How does that happen?
This all goes back to Jesse Malin.
Wow.
So
Jesse.
Yeah. So Jesse had a European tour. Yeah. Right. Jesse had a European tour when I was in the band. So I want to say this is 2011. And the band opening for us was a band out of New York called The Killing Floor. Two of the guys were American, two of the guys were English. And I hit it off with the guitar player of the band. I hit it off with all of them, but the guitar player and I really hit it off, a guy named Mark Alberici. And he, we kept in touch through the years, even after I stopped playing with Jesse. He ended up moving to Nashville. So whenever I'd come through on a tour in Nashville, he'd come out to the show. And probably about 4 years ago, he was coming to LA to do a Tiffany album, and which surprised me because I didn't know that he was playing with Tiffany. And he asked if I wanted to play a song on the record. And I said yes. And the recording was going to be the next day after we talked. But the night that he called me, there was a jam night going on in LA. There's a couple of those. So I asked if him and Tiff wanted to come out, contacted the people at the jam night, and they said, "Oh, Tiffany, does she want to do a song?" And I asked them, and that night we ended up doing GNR's Sweet Child of Mine. So it was with Tiffany, me, and Mark, and a couple of other people who play the jam night. And then so we recorded the song the next day. Fast forward a couple of years, she's doing a new album. They contacted me and wanted to know if LA Guns, sans Phil, would like to record a song on her latest album. And so basically we did a Rival Sun song, Keep On Swinging. And I actually just ran into those guys at the Howie Pyro benefit. I had sent them the song and they love it. So anyways, so LA Guns did a song on the new album. And then this past June, they needed a rhythm section. So they asked if me and Scott Coogan wanted to do it. So there we are. That's the boring story, but that's pretty much it. So it all stemmed from knowing Jesse. Jesse, I think, is at 7 degrees of punk rock separation to everybody.
Yeah.
That's a good way to, that sounds like the name of his book.
Right?
Yeah. 7 degrees of punk rock separation. Or it sounds like the name of his next album. That's a great album title for Jesse.
That guy, if everybody knows Jesse, as everybody should.
So how are the shows different between, Tiffany's audience versus an LA Guns audience? How different is that for you?
You know what? The fans are just as passionate. They know all the words and they're up there yelling and screaming. And sometimes I see tatted dudes that look like bikers singing along to every single song.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking they're there for me and Scott. I'm all, oh yeah, okay. We got some Chelsea Smiles, LA Guns fans in the audience. And no, they're there for Tiffany. And it's been great though. It's just, that's like a family on the road as well. And she has some cooking shows online. And the cool thing is that sometimes when we're on tour, if we have a couple of days off, we'll have an Airbnb and she's there cooking for everybody. And she's just the sweetest. And fun fact, because I grew up in La Mirada, California, which is right next to Norwalk where she grew up. And we were both born at the same hospital.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Johnny's
stupid
always
fun facts.
He's always full of fun facts. If you follow Johnny on social media, he posts fun facts all the time, and they are pretty interesting.
And they're dumb. They're dumb fun facts, but people seem to dig them.
Well, people love it. Like he was telling me, Jason.
People dig dumb. It's fine.
Johnny was texting.
Welcome to America.
Yeah.
He was texting me leading up to this episode, and I told him that we had Billy Rowe on the show, and he said, "Fun fact,
Right.
Johnny's wife.
Yeah, they've known each other since they were teenagers because Billy went out with one of my wife's best friends. So they've known each other for a really, really long time. And
Crazy.
That was funny when, because I never really knew Billy Rowe when he was in Jet Boy, but when the Chelsea Smiles would do shows with American Heartbreak, you know, Viv came to the show and she was like tripping out. And so it like every time we run into Billy now, I think he goes to hug her first instead of me, you know, as everybody does, you know, when they see Viv. But
I was going to say that sounds kind of normal.
It's
like it should
Viv,
happen that way.
Johnny. What are you going to do? Yeah.
But
So I always thought it was interesting that you were doing this Tiffany thing, and you continue to do it, and it sounds like it's like you said. I even get the vibe as an outsider that it's you got a little family thing going on there with that group of people. So anytime you can put that on the road and make some money and have some fun, I'm happy for you, man. So that's
exactly. And the new album's amazing, and I'm not even saying that because I'm biased, but. There's some really good songs here. I think it's the best stuff she's ever done. I think my favorite stuff in her earlier days is Could Have Been. That was one of her huge hits.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that. That's an amazing song. But this new album is really, really good. And Mark, she co-wrote songs with Mark, who is her boyfriend as well, her guitar player. And I believe he co-produced the album. And that's Mark's the guy, you know, that I met through Jesse.
Yeah.
And I mean, the album is, I've got some favorite songs that I listen to when I'm not even on the road. You know, I'll actually, I guess I'll get permission first. I'll send you some of the songs.
Yeah.
You know,
please do.
I didn't send you that. I didn't send you the Rival Sun song.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Holy
that.
shit. Okay.
No.
I got to do that. Is Jason still there?
Yeah, I'm
he's
here.
still here.
All right. Just checking. Anyways, Dave. So we, it's just cool. I mean, you know, to tour with these people, I mean, she's a legend, obviously. You know, I get the jokes from people, "Will you guys play in the mall?" You know, and which I don't know why that should be a joke. That's actually pretty cool to freaking, I would love to play them all.
I don't think that that's funny. I think that's, you could say things like ahead of your time or going where, you know, it's like sometimes I say you win your fans one at a time. Well, if you're at the shopping mall and they know who you are and you're there and you can draw a crowd, that's like putting on a free show during South by Southwest. You're going to win people over.
I have not mentioned this, but I'm sure somebody has to her, but I'm going to say this on the record. Tiffany, if you're listening, Tiffany should actually do a couple of mall shows.
I agree.
Oh, that would be.
How rad would that freaking be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would get a lot of press because she's kind of going back to her roots, and it would fly.
Well, I know that with promo for her last record, she did I believe she did Fox and Friends and Good Morning America and stuff like that. That would definitely be, with those shows, you got to usually do them on their stage, which is kind of cool because it's by Times Square and all that. But a show like that, not just a show to have press, but have a show that you're booked on to do, but have it remotely, filmed or cast from
broadcast,
a mall location.
Yeah. Like the Mall of the Americas, there's the East Coast and up north.
Right.
There's a bunch of that stuff where they could probably have a parking lot stage at the mall, and it would totally be fair, more like festival staging.
But I really think in the mall to really just capture that nostalgic vibe.
Yeah.
And Mall of America could obviously house people.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there a couple of times.
As long as it's right outside Chick-fil-A.
Yes. And as long as I get free tickets to all the amusement attractions there, all the rides at Mall of America.
Sure.
I'm that guy. I went to Universal a couple of weeks ago for my birthday. I love me a good roller coaster and just we got Magic Mountain 20 minutes away. We've got Universal, which is not even 5 minutes from me. And then Disneyland on a good day without traffic. This is LA. I could get there in 40 minutes. So I'm off topic. But where were we?
That's fine.
This is great.
Yeah, we know where longitude and latitude. We know where you live now. So
right, pretty much.
No, that leads me. You're talking about you enjoy roller coasters and amusement parks and that sort of thing. What do you and the LA Guns guys do on days off when you're on the road? What do you do to kill time or have fun or whatever?
At the time, we were working a lot, so not a lot.
Yeah.
Days off were spent resting because we're just working. And when we're not on the road, we're working. Tracie's doing Sunbomb, and did you know I played on that record?
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not stroking my ego. I'm just letting you know fun facts.
Right.
So.
You're not sleeping. You're working.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just like now I'm still, playing with Frankie and the Studs, which Jason, I don't know if you know, it's a band with Frankie Clark, which is Gilby Clark's daughter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And we started the band about 6 years ago, but I had to leave because LA Guns got so busy.
Mm-hmm.
But we just did a show last week, which was incredible. Gilby's doing a residency at a place called the Bourbon Room in LA. Amazing room. I had never been there.
I saw somebody who's on my news feed posted some pictures. There was some event there. They were hanging out with Zakk Wylde there in the foyer in that room. It looks cool.
Right. It's really, really cool. And Gilby has his residency with, that night it was with Kenny Aronoff on drums.
Wow.
Teddy Zigzag on keys and Sean McNabb. And they were just playing some bluesy stuff, but bluesier stuff from the Stones. But, just some really, really cool shit. And Frankie and the Studs, we opened that and we had Sam Bam Colton on guitar with us and Jake Hayden, and they both played with Dorothy. And actually Sam Bam also plays in Faster Pussycat.
Right.
Great guitar player, young guy, just amazing kid. Well, I see him doing amazing things in the future.
Yeah.
He's doing amazing things now. But back to this Frankie and the Studs thing. Yeah, so that's Gilby's daughter. We've been playing together for a while, and we actually have a show next Saturday at the Roxy. So I've been keeping myself busy with that and some other things around town, session work. I like to keep busy. I don't like laying around the house.
No.
Yeah.
If I'm laying around the house, it's with my phone and I'm doing something business-wise with music because I just have to keep something going.
Sure.
Yeah. And then we have the jam nights in town. Those are starting back up again.
Good.
And those are great because I get to see all my friends and play with them. And then, sometimes you get to play with somebody who's really famous and you're all, oh, how are you famous? You're really bad.
Well,
name names.
Famous doesn't mean good.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I know.
Who have you played with that was famous that was a lousy musician? I thought you liked talking shit, man.
I didn't really know the person. So I told you, I'll talk shit on people I know.
Okay.
That's fair.
Right.
That's fair. Where can someone buy a Frankie and the Studs record? Is there a record?
I believe she's got some. I believe she's dealing with everything on her website.
Okay.
And what's really effed up, I'm a really bad bass player, friend. I don't have that website. But
well, everyone out in Talk Louder Land, do some Googling. Frankie and the
Studs.
Frankie Clark.
And Tiffany. And LA Guns at lagunsmusic.com.
There we go.
And Johnny Martin Bass on Instagram. I don't know what the Facebook is, but
that's all right. Could they type in Johnny Martin fun facts?
They probably could.
At this
because
point,
they have that when you search in Facebook, when you're looking for somebody, sometimes it'll have taglines of stories. Like if you put in penis, then it'll be like a list of people who have said penis in your feed or put up penis stories. Not that I'm Googling penis. You know what I mean?
Of course not.
or putting up penis.
Hey,
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with penis.
No,
Okay.
it's okay to say penis.
so tell me real quick about you mentioned the other day when we were texting. You've got a project with one of the guys from Bullets and Octane, or
I believe this has got to be breaking news.
breaking news, folks. Listen up.
This is a world premiere, exclusive. Nobody really knows.
He's super excited
He's
about
kind of setting
it.
us up to
Oh my God, this is amazing!
a little sullen there for a second.
No, it's pretty fucking rad. I'm working with Gene Lewis from Bullets and Octane. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now, but it's pretty damn exciting. Gene sent me. Gene and I have been friends for a while because his old drummer, Ty Smith from Bullets and Octane, ended up joining the Chelsea Smiles after Carl Rockfist moved back to Sweden to play with Michael Monroe.
Right.
Weird, incestuous, thing. And then I met Gene at a Jesse Malin show because Ty, who was in Bullets and the Chelsea Smiles, was also in Jesse Malin's band with me. So Gene and I got to know each other. We had run into each other through the years, and about a month ago, I ran into him at a Frankie and the Stud show. His girlfriend's band was playing with us, and he was telling me about his new music. So we exchanged information. I contacted him. He sent me some new music that he played everything on, sang and played all the instruments, and it blew my mind. My mind is rarely blown, and I was blown away. And like I said, I'm not going to really talk too much about it, but Gene and I have been writing songs together, and it's fun.
Can you give us a clue as to the overall sound? Is it what we would expect from you guys, or?
It's nothing. I don't. It's kind of what you'd expect, but people are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Do you have a working band names that we can look out for, or?
We do, but we're not going to discuss it just yet.
That's under wraps also. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Fair
coolest
enough.
part and the moral here is, Johnny, you're busy, and you have found your way into these situations where you can call these people fine folk and family.
Right.
And you love them, and you would take a bullet for them, and they're important to you. And I just want to commend you. There's obviously something very solid about you and your talents. And it seems to me, just in the stories and getting to hang out with you here on the Talk Louder podcast,
Thank you.
that,
Uh-huh.
yeah, of course, and just getting to hang out and meet you a little. I don't know if we've ever met. I mean, I've seen LA Guns with you. I've seen LA Guns without you. I've seen LA Guns a million times, toured with them, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, and I feel the same way about Adam, because Adam is this great, positive, talented, friends with everyone, nicest guy in the room when you're there, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And that kid's a saint.
Yeah, he is.
Sweetheart. Yeah.
But I'm getting a lot of the same vibe, and that's just, don't you feel like you win the lotto? You have these situations where you can't wait to go on the road because you're going out with people that you love. You can't wait to write songs with your new songwriting partners because of all of this. It's rainbows and sunshine and unicorns and candy. And I think that there's something about you that's kind
all of those
like,
things are on his rider, by the way.
You're emoting all
sugar-free candy. I got to go keto these days. I got to watch my girlish figure.
You're emoting all of these great things, and I just want to underline all that for people listening, because
I told you he's not as bad as you thought.
no, I thought he was this hardcore guy who just had some like piss and vinegar to throw around, but
Nah,
Super sweet.
Yeah, and it's like with as much as I said I like talking shit, I guess I mean, I haven't found the need to just yet. I guess.
Well, I can leave the room for a minute.
We were just about to when Dave's audio went out. So
yeah, we're gonna have fun with Dave. So
yeah,
man, it just I love my life. I really, really do. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a famous rock star, famous rich rock star. Am I famous in certain circles?
Sure.
Am I rich with love? I get I mean, I'm rich. I'm making a living.
Yeah.
Am I struggling? COVID made it fucking hard.
Yeah.
COVID really raped my bank account, but my head's above.
Are you happy?
Am I a happy human? Yeah. Here's a deal. I'm not unhappy, but I know I can be happier. I've gone through a lot of shit in my life. I mean, it even came to a head one time when I almost had a nervous breakdown. And I'll talk about this. I have no shame. And this is actually for people out there who have possibly gone through the same thing. I was in a horrible, horrible place. And I had gone to doctors and therapists and trying to figure out what was wrong, tried certain medications, but it seriously came to a head one time where I pretty much it felt like a nervous breakdown. And I immediately, went to the doctor and we found a medication that worked for me. And it changed my life. And in retrospect, I noticed that something's been going on up here since I was in high school. But no one ever diagnosed it properly. And ever since then, my whole point is that's the quick synopsis of that. My life has never been better, physically, mentally, career-wise. I'm playing with LA Guns, which how most of those nostalgia acts are a joke. That's where I'll start talking shit. Most of those bands just phone it in. They look. Their guitar techs look more rock star than they do. And, I'm not talking about bands that just wear jeans and a t-shirt, because if you have charisma, you can pull that shit off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I come from a school where bands look bigger than, larger than life. They're superheroes. You want to be them. And let's use LA Guns, for example. We give a shit about our audience and the fans enough to where they're paying to come and see us. We're going to put on a great show. Tiffany, same way. She cares so much about her audience. She's not just going to go up there and phone it in. It's not like, okay, I think we're alone now. We played it 1 million times. So we're going to play it 1 million more. Although the live version now is a little more aggressive because you have Scott Coogan and I.
Yeah.
Of that. I mean, but my whole point is, it's really, really sad when I see some of these bands that we play with, because, unfortunately, it makes sense, we're going to be put on bills with those bands, even though LA Guns is more relevant than most of them. It's, it is a nostalgia act, but it goes beyond that. But, it is, and we're put on bills with those bands from that era.
Yeah.
And a majority of them, I'll even say that it's not just some of them, it's a majority of them. It's like, I get it. The fans want to hear the hits, but it's like they don't care, I'm not asking them to try, because, to try to fit into the clothes that they wore back in the day.
Yeah.
But put some effort into it, because these people, it makes them happy to relive their, an era of their life.
Yeah.
That's why they're going there. They spend their days, they work 40, 50, 60 hours a week for that one night to get out and see that band that made them feel alive. And you go up there and you act like you don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just doing it for you so you can make some money, a quick pay grab. I mean, I love the money too, but put some effort into it.
I think you guys hold a distinct advantage in that regard. But I mean, the band looks great. You do put on an energetic show, but you guys are putting out new music that's good, and a lot of your contemporaries aren't. So you're
once
touring,
again,
you've got great albums. You're putting out great music, and a lot of the bands that you're probably touring with are living off of the albums that came out, decades ago.
Right. And I sometimes I can understand that. Actually, some bands should just live off of that and don't put out new music if it's not good.
You can make an argument for that too. Yeah.
I'm really fucking sorry, but what was I forgot what I was listening to. Oh, the new Def Leppard. What do you think?
Well, I told you that I thought it sounded
What do
like
you think?
T-Rex. Yeah.
Right. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing at all. And, like I said on my post, I was a fan of the first two albums. We know they're amazing. So obviously High and Dry, just incredible. That one, amazing.
Yep.
Pyromania, great album. Everything after that, I was kind of losing it. And then after Steve Clark died, and it's no disrespect to Vivian because he's an amazing guitar player. It's just, they just lost me. And then that covers album came out. No matter what that song, they redid that. And I was like, wow, that is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I even said to myself, they should start putting out stuff that kind of sounds like that. And this is kind of along that line.
Sure. Yeah.
And it sounds really, really good. But they were in that category of like, oh, don't put out any new music, please. Because it just wasn't, but they did, and they did it right. And then what's funny is my wife and I, because she knows more about music than I do. That's one thing that made me fall in love with her. She had, when we met, she had everything from Miles Davis to Minor Threat.
Do we need to get her on the podcast?
You need to get her on the podcast. She should have her own fucking podcast with you guys.
There you go. Yeah.
But the thing is that like I played her some nostalgia. I don't like using the word has been. I guess not on a public podcast, I guess. That's why. So I was playing the new Def Leppard, and I said, and as opposed to this band, and I played some of this band's new music, a couple of artists, and she's like, oh, it's, and
rocks.
But what? Oh, I thought okay. Anyways, I thought you said a name. But
no. I said she was throwing rocks.
Yeah. Okay. But their old songs are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, don't put out the new. Like they should just stick with their old music. I mean, I can almost respect that more than them putting out music that's just bad. And I know that I'm not saying the songs suck because because they obviously don't suck as musicians. Maybe somebody likes that music. Who am I to say that the band, but it just, in my opinion, is not as good as it should be.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying. The other side of that coin is, there might be someone out there that thinks, why is LA Guns still putting out records? They're past their prime, and I would say they're putting out records because they can, and they're good records. And I think that's the distinction you're making.
Now, here's the deal. I would like to think that I'm a pretty good judge of most music, and especially seeing bands live, because I've seen so many different kinds of bands live.
Except the Ramones and Motorhead and Judas Priest. Oh, yeah. I think we lost him.
Okay, so
we're losing you.
I've seen a lot. I haven't seen everybody.
Mayday.
But I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Well, you're a pretty good. You were saying you feel like you are a pretty good
lot of
judge.
music.
Oh yeah, if I wasn't in LA Guns and I was to see this band, this incarnation of the band, I would be like, wow, this band does it better than a majority of the bands from that era, and actually a majority of newer bands live.
Agreed. Exactly.
There's energy. Once again, I'm going to reiterate, this is it's the term I like to use. They don't phone it in, or we don't phone it in.
Yeah.
We care. I mean, if we didn't, we really wouldn't be doing this. There's no point. Tracy's got a family. He's got a newish wife. It's only been 3 years now, I think.
Yeah, something like that. A new child.
A new child. He wouldn't want to leave his home if it wasn't what it was, and he wasn't enjoying himself.
He's living in Europe, right?
He's living in most of the time in Denmark.
Right.
He still has his place over here in the hills, which our tech Fitz is pretty much living the lifestyle right now up there, and he deserves it. That guy busts his ass. He's fucking awesome. But Tracii wouldn't leave the family.
Party
just
at Tracy's house.
See, that's what I'm saying. And you know,
on the phone.
Coincidentally,
Me and Dave are buying plane fares right now. We'll see you there, Johnny.
Hey, I'm pulling out the invitation right now. If you can find the house, just text me before you get there. And
longitude and latitude, if
BYOB. So, coincidentally, though, there was a house literally 10 houses down that used to be the old Bela Lugosi house. And before I really knew Tracii, my wife and I would go there once a year because they would have Halloween parties.
Ooh,
nice.
And they don't have those anymore there. So I'm thinking, while Tracie's away, to bring back those memories.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so he wouldn't. Yeah, and someone's always like, "Oh yeah, Tracii and Phil, they're just doing it for the cash grab." And you know what? No, because they're off for the cash grab all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see what you guys do as a cash grab.
You wouldn't be putting out, again, I go back to the music. You wouldn't be putting out quality music 3 albums in a row if this was anything, if there wasn't more to it than the cash grab. Because you guys don't need to be doing this if you don't want to. And you're doing it because you enjoy it and you're giving the fans something to love. It's quality stuff, and you've done it 3 times in a row now.
Right. And we got the two live albums and the Christmas EP.
Yeah.
So we've been working
very prolific in the last when Missing Piece came out in 2017.
Yep.
So what are we talking here?
I think that's October of 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we were in Japan. That's right. We were doing Loud Park in Japan with Slayer and Alice Cooper.
Far out.
That doesn't suck.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
And, So I'm glad.
You've done 6 releases of some sort or another in the span of 5 or 6 years. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and
this is not me saying it. They've gotten some iffy reviews, but I think those people were biased to a certain drummer. But
fair.
But the majority, I would say 99% of the reviews have been positive on all fronts.
Yeah.
If you can get those statistics on as far as reviews go, because that's just an opinion.
Because I am that guy. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm the one who, because I told you I had a little chemical imbalance thingy. Thank you, Lexapro, for helping me. I'm that guy.
Sponsorship.
Right. Right. Is there does Lexapro sponsor?
That would be kind of awesome.
I don't know. Maybe you can make a phone call and help us out with a sponsorship.
Hey, everybody always disses on Big Pharma, but have they ever worked with Big Pharma? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm going to get such backlash on this from.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're taking care of yourself.
Anyway.
The bottom line is you're taking care of yourself.
But I'm backing Big Pharma, aren't I?
A little bit.
So now we're going to get into
it's working. It's working for you.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So you can't. Don't shit where you eat, man.
Right. So where were we now? Oh yeah, obsessing. I'm that guy that I used to obsess more before the crazy pill, but I'm that guy that looks up reviews constantly and then sends them in the band thread. I'll even send a bad one because we laugh at it because we know. Well, let's see, there were 20 good ones to 1 bad one, or maybe even I'd say even the ratio is more like 40 to 1. So, but. I am that guy, and so I'm not saying that the reviews were great because I think the reviews were great. No, they were great reviews,
Right.
And so yeah, definitely, we've worked hard, and that's the thing. LA Guns works hard.
Yeah. Do you feel like you guys make? Speaking, I mean, this is going to sound like I'm feeding into the cash grab, but it's not. Do you guys make more money off of touring than record sales?
I do.
Yeah.
And I will say this. Well, yeah. I mean, touring definitely.
Yeah, for sure. T-shirt sales, merchandise.
Oh yeah, the merchandise. Because
immediate cut of the merchandise sale.
Everybody
after the house takes their cut. Sure.
It's funny. It's like with a lot of these reviews. I've actually heard this a couple of times. If there are negative reviews, it's like, oh, the album covers a rehash of their, of their badge, the logo. It's been done. You know what? It's the brand. That's why we kill it with that. We overdo it with that.
That's right.
I want people to get sick of it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's like saying, man, I'm tired of seeing the War Pig, the Motorhead logo. I'm tired of seeing that. They're not saying that. They're not saying that.
Right,
That's
exactly.
like saying I'm tired of seeing the Ramones circle. I'm tired of seeing. That's bullshit.
Right.
That's your brand. That's your badge. That's your reality. That's like Iron Maiden all of a sudden not using
using Eddie. Exactly.
Eddie, or Dangerous Toys not using the clown anymore for whatever. Oh, we're past that. Shit, fans get pissed off if they don't see that shit. I would do the same if I bought an LA Guns record and it didn't have the badge on there fucking somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think it's,
I didn't like Kiss when they took the makeup off. Same shit.
Oh, you know what? I never saw Kiss without the makeup. Never.
You saw him with the makeup, and then you saw him again with the makeup.
Exactly. And I will say this: when I was young.
Okay.
No, I saw Kiss Dynasty tour.
Oh, 79, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you had to throw out the year, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was only one.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yep.
But then, so I saw the iconic lineup before any breakup.
Nice.
And then I saw the reunion. Before the reunion, actually, and I think it was 96, where they did a warm-up show at K-Rock's Weenie Roast.
Yep.
And one of the scaffolding caught on fire, which was pretty awesome. But that was rad. And then I saw them at the premiere, because, I live in LA, so that's what we do out here. We go to movie premieres. The Kiss movie, what the hell was it? Detroit Rock City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Went to the movie premiere for that. Cheap Trick played the after party, and Cheap Trick and Kiss played, which is pretty damn awesome.
Wow.
Over in Westwood by UCLA. That was really, really cool. It was like free food and drinks, and it was like food trucks before food trucks was a thing. So, there was an In-N-Out food truck. So that's when I ate red meat, and I was all over it. And, it was like top shelf liquor, and just, it was fun, to see Kiss and Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
And then when did I saw Kiss again? I want to say the Kiss Cruise was the next time after that. Then I saw him at Honda Center. I was working production for a company that was working that show. That was right before COVID hit. So yeah, I've said, but it's all been with makeup. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I think I have the Lick It Up album, and that was only given to me from somebody else. That the only reason I have it is because it was given to me.
Yeah.
It was the birthday gift you didn't want. Oh, Lick It Up. Thanks.
At least it still kind of sounded like, I don't know.
There's some good songs on there. I'll say it.
Yeah. And, I didn't own anything, or at least I personally didn't go out and buy anything after Unmasked. And I know Eric Carr was a great drummer, and there's some good stuff,
Creatures of the Night is a great album.
Yep.
I know it is.
Yep. But that's one of the few post the period that you're talking about that is
I don't hear anybody jumping up and down for joy for fucking Hot in the Shade. That's funny.
Man, that was in stereo. Yeah, it freaking me out. And even with latency, that was in stereo.
Right.
Man, this has been really awesome kind of getting to meet you, Johnny, and just
it was great to meet you too.
Talking rock and roll with you.
I mean, there's still so much that we can touch on. I mean, I even mentioned it while I'm here before I cut. Back in '97, my first pro gig was a band called the Cunninghams on Warner Revolution Records. And that's a band you should look up as well.
Okay.
That's a band I joined right after their album was done. But the tours that we did Cheap Trick tours. We did an NXS tour.
Wow.
2 months before Michael died.
Holy moly.
So I kind of got to know him a little, and he was a sweetheart gem of a human being.
Wow.
And a great band live.
That's priceless, man. That's you got to spend time with someone legendary, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Well, that's one thing too about the job that I do. I've got to meet some of my idols, bands I grew up listening to. Some I actually call friends these days.
Amazing.
I met my wife because of music.
Yeah.
She's a Bay Area girl, but she was living up in Seattle at the time, and I was in that band, the Cunninghams, that I
Hence
just
the
mentioned.
Billy Rowe story back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That band, the Cunninghams, was out of Seattle. We met each other because of music, and I'd say a big chunk of people in my life is because of music. So I'm really, really blessed and grateful at the opportunities that music has been doing for me and for my family. You know, I make a living doing this when there's not COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because whether you believe it was real or not, the reality is there was no work.
Right.
You know,
right.
Whether it was real or fake, whether it was Trump's fault or Biden's fault, there was still no fucking work.
Yeah.
You know, bless you, kiddo.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. But
Drink some water.
yeah, drink some water, stand on one foot,
Bark like a dog.
spin, but speak Spanish. Actually, she does. She's half Mexican, half Italian, so
Super talent.
Yeah.
I don't piss her off. But,
Right?
but
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
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 But yeah, it's just, what I wish this industry, is it right for everybody? No,
No.
because it's sometimes, within the course of the career, it's like it's filet mignon one day and McDonald's the next. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I always seem to land on my feet, and I get to play with people that I admire.
You were born to do it.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Well,
actually,
it's too late for you to turn around and try, juggling in the circus.
Yeah.
I will
Brain-
say I am pretty decent at it. I'm still getting used to it. It's like, speaking of bands looking good, I'm still getting used to the new
I
mullet.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I had that. Well, people say Ramones because it was bangs, but it was like an inadvertent haircut. It just kind of worked for me. And, because if I was a true Ramones fan, I would have seen them live, right?
I was going to say.
Yeah, I know.
Fair-
we're
fair.
gonna
To be-
beat a dead horse, but
To be fair, I feel like the photos that we're going to have on the montage on our intro, which we do after you leave the room. See, there's that me and Dave's golden ticket to talk shit. People will see the haircut you're talking about, which framed your face, and this is
Let me
quite
see if I
different.
can hear you guys. Actually, hey, you there?
Hey,
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah,
I gotta turn this shit up.
yeah, we're here.
Wait, no, I gotta turn it up on my end, fools.
Okay.
How you doing?
Hey, how
there
you
you go.
doing?
Yeah,
Look
so
at that.
No,
That's
looking
beautiful.
good.
It's
A little
work
bit of
art.
Sid. Little bit of Sid.
Vapors meets the Jam, kind of.
Vapors.
It's
Yeah.
just what happened was, my wife came to me one day. She's when are you gonna cut that dated Ramones Mick Mars looking mop? And it was no disrespect to Mick Mars, it's and I was just like, I got to do something, and this is the outcome.
Yeah.
Well, you wear it well. You definitely pull it off. I like it.
It's Bowie vicious.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Kind of like, Rachel Bolan-ish.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
No, I'm still
I
going
wanted
with,
the mullet though.
I'm
It's
still
just
going with
because-
the vapors. I like that.
Yeah, you're not turning Japanese while the cameras are rolling, though.
You can't say that these days. That's racist.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it that way. I'm talking about a really
No, it doesn't
fun
matter
rock
if you
and
mean
roll
it that
song.
way. It's all racist.
Okay, well,
It's just it's
I'm
a song
sticking
title,
to my
but-
guns here.
Yeah.
You can't
pun
say anything
intended.
these days. That's
Man,
and
thank
it's
you
not
so
just don't even get me started. It's not just older or younger people or anything. It's just you can't say comedians. Comedians can't be comedians anymore.
Yeah,
and that was the
fucked
whole
up.
point of seeing a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. To bust your balls and be offensive.
Plus everybody's balls.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
By
why
the
we
way-
have a podcast.
Jason, where do you live?
In Austin, Texas.
Oh shit, you're both in Austin. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an amusement? You don't have a Six Flags out there, do you?
In Houston area.
That's
Yeah.
that's what, a
Houston
couple
area.
hours.
There's San Antonio, an hour away. There's Fiesta, Texas. It's pretty much an amusement. There's a SeaWorld down there, etc.
Because
Yeah.
I want to come out to Austin and spend a few days, and
You should.
do
Come
some
on.
stuff.
Come on down,
Yeah,
man.
should.
SeaWorld, or what is it? Fiesta, Texas is about an hour away in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Right.
And I get back to San Antonio a fair amount. My parents are still there. My best, one of my best friends is there. So it's not that far. We drive to concerts there all the time. I just went and saw a gig a couple weeks ago, drove down and back the same night. I don't recommend that, but it's doable.
Oh, I think that's the only way to go. I'm down there next month opening for Riot. So I'm going to go down there and play
Jason's one of these guys that drives, 4 hours to the gig, and as soon as he gets off stage, he drives home.
Yeah, Riot.
Yeah, Riot.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not really the Riot that we all know, but it's Riot. It's Riot.
God, right. That's the thing. I don't want to talk about me. One time I want to just geek out on some shit. Just on bands we all listen to, or maybe even still listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, this is a cool question, really quick to you guys. Any shows coming up besides Priest that you guys are looking forward to seeing?
Yes.
Yeah, LA Guns in Faster Pussycat with Tom Kiefer in June.
Oh, is that in Austin?
It's in North Austin, so it's a bit of a drive, but it's doable. Yeah.
Here's another one, Armored Saint, Michael Schenker, and Wasp in San Antonio.
Who's playing with a Wasp? I almost said that last
I don't know who's in Blackie's band. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
My buddy Mike was, Mike Dupke? He was playing with Wasp for a while. Young guy, really cool. I don't even know if he's young. He just looks young. God, he's a good-looking guy. But he's an amazing drummer. At the jam nights, I always like to request playing with. He's one of the drummers I like playing with. He's a cool guy. But so Armored Saint, Sandoval Brothers, those guys. Speaking of jam night, I did some Judas Priest songs with them, and those are sweethearts. Those Southern California boys.
Yes.
Probably
with Gonzo and Phil.
Yeah, I had met. Yes, Gonzo and Phil. I met Mr. Bush a couple of times when he was in Anthrax. He was a cool guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
We've had some fun with Bush.
Bands, it should have been bigger. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
But everybody within our scene digs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, to have met them, they're just really, really cool people. And that just makes me like a band more.
Yeah.
Well, they write great songs. They've been very consistent, even with
Bush.
Bush.
Bush's voice is insane.
Yeah,
that guy's voice.
He can sing anything.
And he's got that. It just sounds like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of gigs that we're looking forward to, my son is now 14 years old, so he's got the concert bug, and he is way into thrash bands. So we're going to see Sepultura. We're going to see Testament. We're going to see Municipal Waste. The Testament bill includes Exodus and Death Angel. So
that's called Bay Area Strikes Back.
Yeah. So we've got all that on the calendar.
Marco Segata, Death Angel.
Yeah.
Marco Segata,
Is he still with?
Yep.
Fun fact, my wife went to high school with him.
Here we go. Hence the Bay Area, hence the Billy Rowe, hence the, right.
Exactly. Yeah. Exodus, fucking Michael Butler was in that band.
That's right.
Michael was in American Heartbreak.
And
that's right.
The Butlers.
That's right.
Yeah, and the Butlers. LA Guns played a show with the Butlers.
Do you know Craig Bearhorst?
I do not, but if I saw his face, though, I'd probably say I do not. So
he's in the Butlers, so he knows Billy, and
I probably met him.
Yeah,
and Billy Rowe as well. Wasn't Billy? Yeah, Billy was a Butler, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And who's Testament? Mr. Tempesta was in that, and he's a sweetheart.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot to text him. So I'm at a Frankie and the Studs rehearsal the other day at this place in LA, and the Cult was loading out. But I didn't know it was the Cult loading out at the time. I'm sitting in my car and I'm on a business call before rehearsal. So I'm just like looking, seeing people walk out. That looks like Tempesta. I didn't think it was. His hair grew a bit. And all of a sudden I find out it was the Cure loading out. And
the Cult.
I'm friends with him. That's my whole point. I did not say hi to him. So, but he didn't say hi to me either. So I
Damn
can
it.
call him out on that.
Well, maybe he didn't recognize the new haircut.
That's probably what it is too.
Yep, that's exactly right.
There's a bunch
Because
of newness. That's the thing too with this COVID thing. I just wanted to turn things around and start new. You know,
fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, and your wife's happier with this new cut as well.
I think we're all happy.
Yeah, well, you came on camera and I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Exactly. See? And now you love me.
Well, it's,
But anyways, back to bands we're looking forward to seeing. There's some there's Supergrass. You guys familiar with them out of
Yeah.
England?
Sounds
Haven't heard
familiar.
that name in a long time.
Amazing band. That is one of those bands that should have been bigger than they are. Kind of Britpops at times, but their songwriting is what's the word I'm looking for? Unconventional.
Yeah.
With chord changes and stuff like that. You know, there's like some Blur and Oasis vibe in their music because they're English and came out around, the time of those bands. But then there's some stuff that'll just blow your mind with some Beatles kind of songwriting. But some of their stuff is really guitar heavy. So they're playing the Wiltern, and I had tickets for that 2 years ago, but COVID screwed that up. But so I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I'm just really looking forward to just getting back out on the road in general.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of bands, even on days off. Like I remember one time with Jesse, we had a day off in Glasgow, Scotland. So we're like, let's go see Elvis Costello. So I got,
Awesome.
and it's kind of a cool story to say, I was in a different country and saw some of my favorite bands, on a day off from work.
I saw a Big Audio Dynamite on a day off in Newcastle, England.
So wait, what year was that?
89.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah.
When I was playing with Jesse, Big Audio Dynamite got back together. So I want to say this is 2011 or 2012. I saw them in New York City. That was rad.
Awesome.
So, and I was right there, front row. Everyone else is in the VIP section. I'm all screw that. I'm that guy that still gets in the pit. I just saw the Dickies last weekend. I was in the fucking pit. Now, I didn't slam, but I was pushing guys off, the courtesy push, you know what I mean? But I made sure I was fucking right there.
Yeah.
I like to be in the thick of it. I'm a fan,
Sure, man.
At the Slayer show, I will say that in Japan, there was a pit and I went into it.
Whoa.
And it was the circle pit that no one was really hitting hard, but I got into that. And that was only 4 years ago, whenever Loud Park was, when The Missing Piece came out, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 years.
2017, yeah.
Jesus. I'll still get in the pit, because I feel it. And it feels great to be, I'm that kid,
That's awesome.
I don't want to stand far away, because I'm not getting that. It's that energy from the band. I want to feel that energy from the band. I'm not going to feel it in lows. You know what I mean? I'm not going to feel it in VIP. I'm going to feel it right there where
Johnny,
they're close up.
Johnny, you still got the fire.
Love it.
You still got the fire. That's what it is.
And whenever I'm on tour, I'll get a call from my wife. She's all, oh yeah. And this was a couple years ago. Speaking of Slayer, she's all, oh yeah, me and my girlfriend, we're going to Slayer and Lamb of God. I'm all
Nice.
And then another night, she's like, oh yeah, me and some friends, we're going to Bauhaus. That was right before COVID. And there was another one too, and this pissed me off. She was all, oh, I got put on the list for the Private Troubadour show for Depeche Mode.
Bummer.
Fuck you. You know what I mean? She's going to all these cool shows without me. And it's not that she's going to shows without me. She's going to them and I'm not.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
So that's why I like rubbing it in. Like when I was in New York, and I saw all these cool bands. Like I saw The Kills, really cool band out in New York. And I saw Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, and and like I mentioned, I saw Big Audio Dynamite. I got to see, oh my God, what's the band?
Kiss.
Guitar player, drummer.
Wasn't the Ramones? It wasn't Motorhead.
It wasn't Judas Priest.
Glessner. Oh my God.
Yes. Well, we can edit this out.
Dan Auerbach's band.
Oh, the Black Keys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I saw them in New York with that one. This is a Black Keys album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good shit, man.
Oh, just great. And have you heard Dan Auerbach's solo stuff?
No.
Great. And he has another band, which is even more amazing, called The Ark. It's either The Ark or The Arcs.
Okay.
Such good stuff. There's good stuff out there, you know, like one of my favorite bands, Arctic Monkeys.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing band.
Yeah, talented.
And it's, you know, another British, and it seems like a lot of the bands are coming out of England, you know?
Yeah.
You know, the Struts, obviously, really cool live band. I just like the vibe.
Yeah.
You know, do I like Greta Van Fleet? I think they fill a void.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's
Everyone
fair.
disses on them because they sound like Led Zeppelin. That's good because there is no Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's fine. And they're on tour with Metallica. What are you gonna? Who's gonna get?
I can't complain about, you know, if you're out there doing it, I'm not going to complain.
No.
Is some of their music my thing? Maybe not, but you know what? You know, it's like I hate, you know, like see people arguing. It's like with the politics thing. I see people arguing over bands that get really pissed off. Like, this album is horrible. It doesn't sound like the last album. I'm like, wow, you're really that pissed off about it?
Yeah, but they got more gigs than I do. So what the fuck?
Listen to the last album then. Don't listen to the new album.
Right.
If the new album's pissing you off, take it off. Take it off the
Right.
turntable.
Yeah, throw it in the garbage. Yeah,
You're welcome.
change the channel. Yeah. Anything else I can help you with?
Right? Very simple.
Oh man. Johnny, we're going to have to let you go, man. We got to do a part 2 or something today or somewhere down the line.
Great hanging with you today, Johnny.
This has been so much fun,
Jason,
and there's so much more to talk about.
Yeah, Jason, it was a pleasure. Jason, wait a minute there, Dave. Wait your turn. Jason, it was a pleasure meeting you. I'm going to be in Austin. When am I going to be there, Dave?
June 25th.
I'm going to be in Austin June 25th. So you guys shall be on the list.
That's not far away.
Thank you.
It's not far away at all. I've got rehearsals in 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked. So
well, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I just loved having you on the show today. I've been wanting to do this, as you know, for months now. So I'm glad we were able to finally connect. And
yeah, you know, the touring schedule and everything else, it just didn't work.
I know.
I blew you. I know. I seriously blew you up. I must have been 4 or 5 times, and I think we even may have had 1 or 2 booked that I had to bow out of.
What a dick! What? I didn't even know about this.
That's actually one of my hashtags. I'm a dick.
What a dick.
So,
so there you can find him online, folks. You look for him on social media. Hashtag what a dick.
Type in penis.
I mean, I know I said I like to talk shit, but we didn't. I know. I just think I was just trying to, you know, test the waters here. So that our next conversation will be a lot more in depth. But that, you know, we awesome. Kind of, we haven't scratched the surface. We're just, you know, you got to, you know, whoever, you know, got to know me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's great for the podcast here to, and listeners here to, you know, meet Johnny Martin.
Yeah, so that's what this is. And you know what? You may want to use that with your opening sequence, you know, with a meet Johnny Martin thing, and then we'll go on to the real thing.
Sure.
The next one, because
we still have to cut our intro.
I do have grievances, though, but that's one thing. And it's not just talking shit, it's grievances. And I really want to get those out because it's not just LA grievances. It's a worldwide, well, actually, it's a United States problem. But it's nothing political, but it's just a grievance. And I think it's things that we as a society can help to make me happy.
As long as we can talk about rock and roll in between grievance, you know,
it's
grievance, rock and roll, grievance, rock and roll.
It's connected. It's all connected.
Good. That's fair too.
Right. Okay,
Johnny,
sweetheart.
thank you, Johnny. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Dave. I love you.
Love you too, man. Looking forward to seeing you.
Back at you.
Always, thank you for being a dear friend through the years. I really appreciate it.
Back at you, man. I appreciate it too. And I appreciate you being here on the show today. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with our special guest, Johnny Martin from LA Guns. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Talk Louder podcast.
Thank you, guys.